Belinda Carlisle. From a very humble and, dare I say, dysfunctional beginning, she became part of the biggest best-selling girl bands of all time during the 1980s, taking that success into a solo career that would see her well into the 1990s. She had the look, the style and sophisticated persona of someone who was going places, knew where she wanted to be and how to get there. But behind all this success and stardom was a lifestyle that was slowly but surely dragging her down a road to hell, out of control and heading towards an early grave. Could Belinda get up above it all and just ride away on a runaway horse? Or would she end up like a circle in the sand, going round and round until her time ran out and she ends up being taken away with the tide? Hello and welcome to another edition of the Bunny and Teddy musical back catalogue, in which I, Teddy, look back at our CD collection, pick out all the major artists from that collection, give you a short history about the artist or band, and then go through all the CDs and tell you about all our favourite tracks from the CDs, and you can go away and listen to them when you see a track that appears on the screen. I shall put a link in the description below for the other two videos in the series. So on to today's episode, and it is Belinda Carlisle. Belinda Jo Carlisle was born in 1958 in Hollywood. I'm recording this, it's the 24th of September, so we've just missed her birthday because it's the 17th of August. Her dad, Harold, he was a gas station employee, and mother, Joanne, was a homemaker, as they say. Belinda was named after her mother's favourite film, Johnny Belinda, 1948 drama, bit of a love triangle film I think it was. Belinda was the first of 7 children to the family. She's got 3 brothers and 3 sisters. But when she was 5 years old, her dad left the family, leaving it completely poor, obviously because Joanne, the mother, wasn't working. Belinda's mum was religious and the dad wasn't. I don't know whether there was a lot of friction in that department that made him leave. And then her mum later remarried and he turned out to be an alcoholic, which didn't help either. The family had to move around a bit before settling in Burbank, and Belinda was 7 years old at that time. And by the age of 10 she expressed a very large interest in music, and she recalls being influenced by such people as the Beach Boys, Cat Stevens, the Stylistics and the Animals. The family relocated yet again to Thousand Oaks, still in California. Belinda attended the Colina Junior High School and later the Newbury Park High School. By the time she became a teenager, she got really rebellious, as teenagers do really. She recalls herself, but by the time she was 14 she'd gone completely wild. She ran away from home, she smoked pot and did acid, and you name it, she'd try it. After high school she worked at the House of Fabrics, which doesn't exist anymore, and then she worked as a photocopier at the Hilton Hotels Corporation in LA. She was 18 at the time. She tried to take beauty classes in the evening, but that didn't work for her. So by the age of 19 she left home completely to pursue a career in music. So firstly she tried to become a drummer for a punk band called the Germs, and this was back in 1977, and she went under the name of Dottie Danger. But unfortunately she developed mononucleosis and she never performed live with the band at all, and she had to leave. But then soon after that she actually co-founded the Go-Go's. She did that with fellow musicians Margot Olivaria, Elisa Bello and Jane Wiedlin. Now Wiedlin, let me just cut off there, right, because if you Google her, well, go and listen to Rush Hour by Jane Wiedlin straight off. Yeah, don't do the Go-Go's straight off. Go and listen to that, because that, I like that one, and I just want to throw that one in. It says here though that Olivario and Bello were soon out of the group, and a new lineup included Charlotte Caffey and Kathy Valentine and drummer Gina Shock. So I'm assuming this is the lineup here that we all come to know and love. None of them were trained musicians, to be fair, and they had to learn as they went along, really. Belinda says that she had to use tape as fret markers. Charlotte, she had to show them how to plug their amps in. But they went on to become one of the best all-time selling bands of the 1980s, in America at least, and because they became more into songwriting and learning how to use their instruments as well, became self-taught in every aspect, if you like, of their music. They were the first to reach #1 because of that in the album charts, with Beauty and the Beast. That featured We Got the Beat and Our Lips Are Sealed, particularly Our Lips Are Sealed. I mean, that's well known here. The first time I heard it though was through the Fun Boy 3. I'd not heard of the Go-Go's at all during the 80s, so as I say, I don't know whether they were big over here. Certainly in America they were the all-time selling bands of the 80s, so there you go. So they recorded 2 more albums on the IRS label, 1982's Vacation, which went gold. Head Over Heels came from their 1984 album Talk Show, but the next year the Go-Go's were no more. 1985, Belinda went on to do her first album, solo album, which was Belinda in 1986. Enter Belinda, 1986. We'll do the albums as we do the history in this one. And then Mad About You got it at #3 in the US, and it also topped the Canadian singles charts and charted at #10 in Australia. And then a single I Feel the Magic came off it as well, and that was written by Charlotte Caffey of the Go-Go's. And then she did a cover of Band of Gold on there, which is, you know, I mean, I'm not one for cover versions as such, but you know, it's a typical Motowny sort of cover of that. When you listen to this one, it is a typical I'm out there, I've gone solo, this is what I want to do at the minute type of album. You know what I mean? It's like testing the water, your typical first album, because she's left a band, she's attempting to get in on the solo act, and it's very difficult to read the track listing because it's very, and even the inside is that writing as well. I don't know who decided on the font, but you know, it's a decent one. I'd go for the singles, as I say, not a lot more. In fact, Charlotte Caffey gets a little picture there inside the album just to show that she actually did it with her. So best is at the time still, yeah. More about that, you've got Since You've Gone, should I say. That was co-written by Lindsey Buckingham of Fleetwood Mac fame, but was only used for promotion of the album there. Then you got Susanna Hoffs, she co-wrote I Need a Disguise, that's the second track on the album. Yeah, again, it's a nice gentle little track, nothing too big about it though. And Hoffs is on that track actually, along with Jane Wiedlin, again another Go-Go helping out there. Now Duran Duran's Andy Taylor, he plays guitar on 1 or 2 of the tracks on the album, would you believe? That same year she married James Mason's son Morgan. He's a I don't know what he is now, maybe into more film producing than political stuff, I don't know, maybe a bit of both I suppose still, but he has made appearances on videos, and she was doing movie tracks at this time as well. It says here, In My Wildest Dreams is from the movie Mannequin. Shot in the Dark, which is on the album again, I think. So yes, Shot in the Dark is on this album as well. That was featured in Out of Bounds, the thriller there, as well as Dancing in the City. Is that on there? No, but apparently Dancing in the City, another track there from the movie Burglar, which stars Whoopi Goldberg. I've never heard of it myself, but there you go. So moving on to the next album, and of course that is this one here, Heaven on Earth. This was my first album. I always remember it coming out because the track Heaven on Earth was always challenging the Pet Shop Boys at the time for the Christmas #1 here in the UK. The Christmas #1 turned out to be Always on My Mind in 1987 for Pet Shop Boys. I always remember it. I don't know why. It's a little thing I do remember. So Wikipedia is saying a flavour of slickly produced power pop, and I'd go along with that. And of course the first single was Heaven is a Place on Earth, and it topped the charts in US and UK. Oh, the video was produced by Diane Keaton, of all people. The second single was I Get Weak, and that got it #2 in the US, #10 in the UK. Third single, Circle in the Sand, top 10 in the US, UK and Germany. World Without You, another UK hit as well. Any other there? I Feel Free is a classic because that's another cover. That's really good, that one. That is really good. It's got a great ending. In fact, that might have inspired the next album title, actually, funnily enough. The other tracks are very much okay, shall we say. That they're alright. Should I Let You In goes on a bit, probably. We Can Change is a good feel song. Fall for Love's a bit, you know, alright. Nobody Owns Me Again, that sort of feel to it. Happy sort of stuff. This power pop comes through a lot, and but then the last track, Love Never Dies, is an absolute tearjerker. I absolutely adore that track. So Love Never Dies, that's my favourite. Good album all round, well worth a listen. Next album, Runaway Horses, that came out in late October 89. So Leave a Light On was the first single, and anyway, that came in at #11 in the US, another top 5 in the UK, Australia and Canada. The second single, Summer Rain, classic track that. I like that one. That's a really good one. That's only reached #30 in early 1990. It reached #6 in Australia. I suppose it was the US #30. Strange that, but 6 in Australia. Other releases from this album you gotta go and listen to are La Luna, which is another love story sort of thing. One or two actually. Summer Rain's very much a love story. La Luna certainly is. We Want the Same Thing, that reached #6 in the UK, and that's more political. The start of something else for her, activism, shall we say. But let's have a look at other tracks. Yeah, Runaway Horses, great track. Deep Ocean, Vision of You is a soppy love story. I would go along with Summer Rain as being my favourite from the album. So it's 1991 now, and she comes out with this one here, Live Your Life, Be Free, telling everybody, well, I'm going to do what I want to do, I don't care what anybody says. So obviously it's got Live Your Life, Be Free on it, which is a good track. Do You Feel Like I Feel, that good track. Half the World, that's a nice soft one, that's a good track. What we got, Half the World was a single, and also Little Black Book. I Plead Insanity, that's quite a good track, go and listen to that one. Emotional Highway, that's a decent track. In fact, there's quite a few decent tracks on it. Love Revolution, You're Nothing Without Me, that's a good one. That's the 5th on the album. Good album all round, yeah. Do You Feel Like I Feel turns out to be the last single that she releases that gets in the Billboard 100 at #73, which really is surprising there. She's such a popular artist in the UK, Europe and Australia. Still really like her a lot, even with this album. It's got some nice little illustrations on the cover there, all very Swish. So a good album all around that. 1992 now, she comes out with her Greatest Hits album Volume 1, which does really well in the UK, again with Australia, and she's still out there on a big label, even though she's ditched America, it seems, or America have ditched her. I don't know why that's gone on. Her and Morgan have a son, James Duke, in the same year. Things change around a little bit then in 93 when this album comes out, and that changes her perception on music completely. She turns away a little bit from the power poppy sort of things. She goes a bit more rugged with these tracks here. It's released in 93 and it's produced without Nowells. Yes, it's this real album is the first one where she doesn't use Rick Nowells. He produced this album, he also written it. He's been with her for quite a while now, and he's been, well, it's not so much ditched, but he's not done the real album. She's turned back to her mate Charlotte Caffey to co-produce it and collaborate heavily with it. So the first track that gets released is Big Scary Animal. That gets in at number 12 in the UK, and the second one off the album was Lay Down Your Arms. Very good single there for her. Only makes the top 30 in the UK. But let's have a look at other tracks. I think this album is very good indeed. It also, it certainly unwraps itself into all that. It's a very nice photo shoot of her. Great tracks. Goodbye Day is a really good one. Oh, Where Love Hides. Wrap My Arms, that's another decent one. Here Comes My Baby, that's a little corny. It's another good album by her. I think it's more to do with her wanting to do something different, and it succeeds in every aspect there. After the 1994 Northridge earthquake, her and her family moved to France, to Fleurus, in the southeastern corner of France, and they lived between there and the US effectively. A couple of years later she's back in the studio with Rick Nowells again, hoping to rekindle a little bit more of her usual sort of stuff, and they come up with that, A Woman and a Man. It's mostly relaxed adult pop, and I'd go along with that. It certainly is. It's yes, it's on the Chrysalis label. Do you remember that label? 1 or 2 on that back in the 80s, weren't there? So it's basically getting back to business again in Europe for her. She's got a top 10 hit out of it with Into Deep. That's reached number 6 in the UK, and that's for the first time in 6 years that she's done that. Always Breaking My Heart, that has been written and produced by Roxette's pair Gessle. That's coming at number 8 in the UK. The next one was Love in the Key of C. That one is probably one I'm more like, to be honest with you, and California, and that one is quite interesting because it's arranged and has backup vocals by Brian Wilson of the Beach Boys, one of her early influences, which must have been really something for her to have feature on one of her albums. So the album itself reached number 12 in the UK and was certified gold. Because of that success, it was released in the US, and this is where I can't understand that. And it was during the summer of '97 when it came out there on the small Arc 21 label. It wasn't even a major label that brought it out in the US. What's going on there? So let's have a look at the album. As well, it starts with Into Deep and California, and then I would say Love in the Key of C. Yeah, the rest of the album is very much love-hate stuff really, so I wouldn't go too much into it, but I like the singles on it. Again, I haven't heard it for a bit, to be fair. I'll have to listen to it again. Yeah, it's a bit more of a slower pace as far as I remember it. So that's that album there. Go listen to it, see what you reckon yourselves. And then in 1999 she released another Greatest Hits album in the UK, a double disc on Virgin. It's called A Place on Earth. the greatest hits. First disc has 3 new tracks on it: All God's Children, Prayer for Everyone, and Feels Like I've Known You Forever. And then this is the only album that we haven't got, but I think I might just get this one because of the bunny, because it was an 8-year gap to the next one, and it's called Voila. It was in 07 she released it. It's her first studio album in more than 10 years, but we haven't got it, mainly because it was just French songs. It was produced by John Reynolds. It includes Brian Eno on keyboards. It's a mix of French pop tunes and chanson standards, including covers by Francoise Hardy and Edith Piaf. Obviously you got to put an Edith Piaf on it, haven't you? It was released through Ryco Disc in the UK. That was in February 07. It was still £10 actually to buy as a CD. We're going on to 2013 now, and she's released her first US single in 17 years in 2013, and it's called Sun. Go and listen to it. I did listen to this one. It's quite a nice upbeat electro pop type thing really, which was quite refreshing in a way. It didn't chart, but it was highly thought of in reviews, so go check that out. That's called Sun. It was also released in the UK, didn't do anything though. It was written by Belinda and Gabe Lopez. The next year, March 2014, another greatest hits collection is released, and that contains 18 hits and another new song called Goodbye Just Go, and it also came with a DVD of the 18 videos. In fact, I'll have to see if I can get that, because I haven't got any video compilation of her. The album reached number 24 in the UK. 3 years later, the family moved to Bangkok. Now, before we go into the last studio album, at this point I'd like to go back and delve into that past of hers that ran alongside her life as a pop star, and it was an extensive, dangerous lifestyle that she had. So you've got to go back to the initial stages with the Go-Go's. As I mentioned, as a teenager she was already into drugs because she ran away from home and did it, all that sort of thing, because she was so rebellious. With the Go-Go's she developed a serious cocaine addiction. Along with that was a lot of alcohol involved, and this was to go on for 30 years. She also developed an eating disorder as well. I mean, this is an issue now with pop stars, and that is appearance. The eating disorder came out of her media coverage, where they had a go at her for being a bit chubby, maybe, I don't know, but I couldn't see anything wrong with her in all that respect. The eating disorder came from a very bad press, and with that the excessive cocaine use helped to keep her weight down. She was interviewed by The Guardian back in 2017, and she couldn't believe that she was still alive, that she ought to be dead really, the way she used cocaine in particular. It came to a head in an incident in 2005. She spent 3 days isolated in a hotel room in London. She locked herself away in this hotel room, and she was quite literally just doing cocaine for 3 days straight. She recalls in her book, Lips Unsealed, a memoir, she looked at herself in a mirror and she didn't see a light or a soul in her hot eyes, and she was that alarmed by that. And between the lines of cocaine that she was doing, she was smoking cigarettes and drinking as well. She went through 10 packs of cigarettes during this time in the hotel room over a period of just 2 days. So on the 3rd day she said she'd got a vision of herself being found dead in the hotel, and she had a auditory hallucination of a voice telling her that she was going to die there if she carried on what she was doing. She's been sober ever since that time really, in 05, and she told the Sydney Morning Herald in 2014, I don't smoke anymore, I don't drink anymore, and I don't do drugs anymore. I am very much into my Buddhism. I found turning 1940. A real passage of in time for me. Back to that book, Lips Unsealed, she says that she has practiced Nichiren Buddhism as a member of the Soka Gakkai International, and she's been with them since '02. Funnily enough, it didn't stop her from still going on for 3 years, and she chants this Namu Myono Renge Kyo daily. Onto her 8th studio album, and it's this one here, Wilder Shores. It's basically a selection of these chants that she does to help her maintain sobriety, if you like. A selection of Gumuki chants. Gumuki, how about that? Gumuki chants. Wilder Shores, it was released September 2017. It's quite an emotional album for me, this, because it sees the person that is Belinda Carlisle coming around to the end of her music career, possibly, who knows, and it sees her coming through a dark, dismal, unseen tunnel, and she's come out at the other end. Her fans have been oblivious to all of this, really, as far as I know. Hearing this selection of songs, it's probably for the fans to realise what she's been through, and they're just realising this for the very first time as they hear that. I've listened to a couple of the tracks off it so far, and yes, they are chants, they are lyrically simple, they go round and round, but they are, well, the two I've heard are set to usual sort of power pop, if you like, in a way. The lyrics resonate a piece with it as well. Funnily enough, the last two, Long Time Son, she may have released it, I'm not sure about that one, but certainly the last track is actually Heaven Is a Place on Earth. I've not heard that one yet. It's going to be interesting to hear that particular version on there. She supports LGBT rights, and she made that public when her son came out at the age of 14. In 2014, she co-founded Animal People Alliance. It's a non-profit organisation based in Calcutta, and it raises funds and trains and employs impoverished women to care for street animals. She says that we are teaching people that animals have feelings, how to recognise a street animal in distress. Anyway, with all that, you know, she's making a stand for certain things that she believes in, and with it, I really do hope that she's found inner peace with herself in mind and body, and it sort of sings out to everyone really who's struggling with their own demons in this respect. There is hope, there is help out there if you choose to find it. With that, of course, in celebration of all that, maybe in the future she may well come out with a 9th album, celebrate her life, if you like, with, and she may do that. So there you go, guys, I shall wrap that up. Thank you very much for watching that. Hope you've enjoyed it. Hope you go out now and listen to Belinda all you like, and either reminisce or get accustomed or associated with her music, and we'll see you on the next one, which is the letter D, of course. Bye for now.